Admiral Throck laughed, so hard a scale shook. 12 weeks. The humans trained their warriors in only 12 weeks. This was impossible. His own Crackner soldiers trained for 5 full years. 5 years of brutal combat training, weapon mastery, tactical studies, survival skills, everything a warrior needed to know. And these humans claimed 12 weeks was enough. Throck could not believe it. He looked around the massive conference room. The Galactic Military Summit happened once every decade. Leaders from 40 different species sat at the long metal table. They gathered to share military knowledge and training methods, to learn from each other, to improve their armies. Throck had attended 5 of these summits in his 300 years of service. He had seen everything, or so he thought. Today, the humans sent a representative for the first time. Earth had only joined the Galactic Council 2 years ago. They were new, inexperienced, young. Colonel Sarah Chun walked into the room. Throck studied her carefully. She was small, very small compared to other warriors in the room. Only 5 feet 6 inches tall. She had no scales like the Crackner, no claws like the Voth, no natural armor like the Zentari, just soft pink skin that looked easy to cut. She wore a simple green uniform. Several colored medals decorated her chest. Her brown hair was pulled back tight. Her dark eyes were calm and focused. The other admirals whispered to each other. "That is a human warrior?" A Voth general asked loudly. His red scales gleamed under bright lights. "She looks so weak and fragile," a Zentari commander added. His 4 arms crossed over his armored chest. Colonel Chin heard every word. Her expression did not change. She walked to her seat with confidence. Her boots clicked against the metal floor. She sat down and smiled politely at everyone. The meeting began. Each species took turns sharing their training programs. The Crackner trained for 5 years minimum. The Voth trained for 7 years. The Zentari required 4 years of intensive combat preparation. Each program was long, detailed, proven effective over centuries of warfare. Then Admiral Throck looked at Colonel Chun. His yellow eyes were filled with amusement. "Colonel Chun, how long do humans train their soldiers?" His voice was loud, mocking. Everyone turned to look at her. She met his gaze directly. Her voice was steady and clear. "We train our Marines for 12 weeks in basic training, Admiral." The entire room went silent. Complete silence. Then the laughter started. It began quietly, then grew louder and louder. Admiral Throck laughed the loudest. His deep voice boomed through the room. Tears formed in his yellow eyes. He slapped the table with his massive hand. The sound echoed like thunder. 12 weeks. Only 12 weeks. He could barely speak between laughs. "And what do you give them after this tiny amount of training, Colonel?" The other admirals joined in. A Voth general was shaking his head. A Zentari commander covered his mouth, but his shoulders shook with laughter. Even the younger officers near the back of the room were smiling and whispering to each other. They had trained for years, some for decades. The idea of 12 weeks seemed like a joke, a bad joke. Colonel Chun did not laugh. She did not look angry or embarrassed. Her face stayed calm, professional. She reached into her uniform pocket and pulled out a small data chip, silver and thin. She held it up so everyone could see it clearly. "Would you like to see the footage, Admiral?" Her voice cut through the laughter like a knife. The room went quiet again. Throck wiped his eyes. He was still smiling, still amused. "Yes, Colonel. Please, show us what humans call military training." He leaned back in his chair, his arms crossed over his broad chest. He expected to see something simple, maybe some running, some basic exercises. Nothing impressive. Colonel Chin stood up. She walked to the center of the room where a large hologram projector waited. She inserted the data chip. The lights in the room dimmed automatically. A massive screen appeared in the air above the table. Blue light filled the space. The image was clear and sharp. The footage began. Day 1 of Marine Corps boot camp. The text appeared at the bottom of the screen. A bus was visible, yellow and old. It stopped in front of a large building. The building looked plain. Gray concrete walls, small windows. Nothing special about it. 50 young humans stepped off the bus. They looked normal, average. Some were tall, some were short, some were thin, some had more muscle. Their ages seemed to range from 18 to maybe 25 years old. They wore civilian clothes, jeans, t-shirts, jackets. They carried small bags. They looked nervous, uncertain, like children going to their first day of school. None of them looked like warriors. Not yet. Admiral Throck leaned forward slightly. His smile was still there, but his eyes were focused now, watching carefully. Then a human appeared on screen. A drill instructor. The drill instructor was not large, not like the massive Crackner warriors, not covered in armor like the Zentari soldiers. He was just a regular human, maybe 6 feet tall, normal build. He wore a brown uniform with a round hat on his head, but something was different about him. His eyes were hard, cold, like steel. He walked toward the bus with slow, deliberate steps. His boots hit the ground with purpose. Every movement was controlled, precise. The recruits stood in a loose group near the bus, talking quietly to each other. Some were smiling nervously. They had no idea what was coming. The drill instructor stopped 5 feet away from them. His hands went behind his back. His chest expanded as he took a deep breath. Then he spoke. His voice was like thunder, like an explosion. You have exactly 3 seconds to get off my bus and stand on those yellow footprints. Move, move, move. The recruits jumped, actually jumped from fear. They scrambled and ran in every direction. Bags fell to the ground. People bumped into each other. Panic filled their faces. They found yellow painted footprints on the concrete. 50 sets of footprints arranged in perfect rows. They tried to form lines. Messy, uneven, chaotic lines. The drill instructor moved between them like a storm. His face got close to their faces, inches away. Those are not straight lines. Do you not have eyes? Can you not see? You will learn to follow orders perfectly, or you will fail. His voice never stopped, never softened. Each word hit like a hammer. Admiral Throck stopped laughing completely. He sat up straight in his chair. His smile faded slowly. The other admirals leaned forward now, watching closely. The room was silent, except for the sound from the footage. The screen showed the first training exercise, a combat obstacle course. Tall walls to climb, thick ropes to cross, deep mud pits to crawl through, barbed wire stretched low over the ground. The course looked difficult, challenging. The drill instructor stood at the starting line. The 50 recruits lined up behind him. You have 3 minutes to complete this course, he said. His voice was cold and emotionless. If you fail, you do it again, and again, and again, until you pass or until you collapse. There's no third option here. Do you understand? Yes, sir, the recruit shouted. Their voices were weak, unsure. The drill instructor shook his head. I cannot hear you. Again. Yes, sir. This time louder, stronger. The drill instructor blew his whistle, sharp and loud. The recruits started running. Their legs pumped hard, arms swinging. They hit the first obstacle within seconds. A wooden wall, 8 feet high, smooth surface. No handholds, no easy way up. Some recruits jumped and grabbed the top, pulled themselves over. Others struggled, jumped once, twice, 3 times, could not reach, fell back down. The drill instructor was right there. His voice never stopped. Faster. My grandmother moves faster than you. She is 80 years old, and she would beat your time. Within 30 seconds, half of the recruits were covered in mud. They crawled under the barbed wire, faces in the dirt, elbows scraping ground. Some got stuck. Wire caught on their clothes, on their backs. They had to stop and untangle themselves. Precious seconds wasted. The clock kept running. One recruit collapsed. A young male, thin build. His legs gave out completely. He fell face first into a mud pit. He did not move, just lay there breathing hard, gasping for air. The other admirals watching the footage expected medics to come, expected someone to help him. Nobody came. The drill instructor walked over slowly. He stood above the collapsed recruit, looking down. His voice was quiet now, but somehow more terrifying than when he yelled. Get up or quit. There is no middle ground here. No mercy. No second chances. You either finish or you leave. What will it be? The recruit's hands pressed into the mud, shaking, weak. He pushed himself up slowly. Mud dripped from his face. His eyes were unfocused. He could barely stand. But he started moving again, 1 foot forward. Then another. Slow, so slow, but moving. Admiral Throck felt something strange in his chest. Respect. He had seen warriors give up easier than this. Strong warriors with years of training. But this weak human recruit refused to quit. Even when his body was failing, his will kept pushing forward. The footage jumped ahead. Week 2 appeared on the screen. The same recruits looked different now. Thinner, harder. Their faces had changed. Less fear in their eyes. More focus. More determination. They stood in straight, perfect lines now. No mistakes. No hesitation. The drill instructor walked past them, inspecting, checking every detail. Their training had evolved, become more intense, more brutal, for in the morning wake-up calls, every single day, darkness still covered the sky. No mercy for being tired. 2 hours of physical exercise happened before breakfast. Running, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, burpees, non-stop movement until their muscles screamed. Only then did they eat. Small meals, basic food, nothing special. Then more training began immediately. Classes filled the morning hours. Weapon knowledge, tactical studies, first aid skills, map reading, radio communication, military history. Their minds absorbed information constantly. No rest, no breaks except the switch rooms. The afternoon brought more physical training. Longer runs, heavier weights, harder obstacles. Their bodies were being rebuilt completely. Evening meant combat drills, hand-to-hand fighting, bayonet training, close quarters battle. They learned to fight with anything, with nothing, with just their hands and their will, then sleep at 10 at night, only 6 hours before the next day started. The cycle repeated, again and again, day after day. Admiral Throck watched a specific exercise now. Week 4. The screen showed a concrete building. Small, square, no windows, just one metal door. The text at the bottom said gas chamber. The recruits stood outside in a line. Each wore a gas mask. Black rubber covered their faces. Clear lenses over their eyes. A Zentari commander in the room leaned forward. "What is this?" he asked quietly. Colonel Chun answered without looking away from the screen. "Chemical warfare training, Admiral. CS gas. It burns the eyes, burns the lungs, causes intense pain, but it is not lethal." The recruits entered the chamber one by one. The door closed behind them. Inside the sealed room, white gas filled the air, thick and heavy. The drill instructor stood in the center, wearing his own mask. He pointed at each recruit, made them step forward, then gave an order that shocked every alien in the room. "Remove your mask." The recruit hesitated, fear visible even through the gas. "I said remove your mask. Now." The recruit pulled off the gas mask. Instantly his face changed. Eyes squeezed shut, mouth open gasping. Coughing started immediately. Deep painful coughing. Tears and mucus poured down his face. "State your name and ID number," the drill instructor ordered. The recruit tried to speak, could barely form words. His throat was burning. His lungs felt like fire, but he forced the words out, choking, gasping, fighting through the pain. "Why would you do this to them?" a Voth general asked. His voice was filled with shock, disgust. Colonel Chun turned to face him. Her expression was serious, stone cold. Colonel Chen's voice was calm and clear. Because, General, in real combat, they might face chemical weapons. They need to know they can survive it. They need to push through the fear and pain. They need to trust their training even when their body is screaming at them to run. The footage showed recruits stumbling out of the gas chamber, coughing violently, eyes streaming with tears, faces red and swollen, mucus running from their noses. Some fell to their knees, gasping for air. But none of them quit. None of them gave up. They all got back in line, standing at attention, ready for whatever came next. Week 5 appeared on the screen. Now the recruits trained with weapons. Real rifles. Real ammunition. They lay on their stomachs on a firing range. Targets were set up at various distances. 50 meters. 100 meters. 200 meters. 300 meters. The drill instructor explained the exercise. You will hit every target. Center mass. No excuses. The recruits fired. The sound of gunshots echoed across the range. Target after target fell. Their accuracy was incredible. Moving targets appeared. Targets that popped up randomly. Targets partially hidden behind barriers. Still the recruits hit them. Over and over. Their training had made them expert marksmen in just 5 weeks. Week 8 showed hand-to-hand combat training. Real fighting now. No holding back. The recruits paired up. They wore minimal protective gear. Just gloves and mouth guards. Nothing else. They punched, kicked, grappled, threw each other to the ground. Blood appeared on the mat. A recruit's nose broke with a sharp crack. He wiped the blood away and kept fighting. Another recruit took a hard kick to the ribs. The sound was sickening. He dropped to one knee, breathing hard. Pain filled his face. The drill instructor watched, did not stop the fight. The injured recruit stood back up, raised his hands, kept fighting. His ribs were probably cracked, maybe broken, but he refused to quit. Admiral Throck's voice was quiet now. All humor was gone, completely gone. This is still basic training? He could not believe what he was seeing. Yes, Admiral, Colonel Chin replied. We are only at week 8. We have not reached the final test yet. She pressed a button. The footage jumped forward. Week 11 appeared. The final test was coming. Large, bold letters appeared on the screen. The Crucible. 54 hours that would change everything. The screen showed nighttime. Complete darkness, except for a few lights in the distance. The recruits gathered in formation. Each one carried a massive pack on their back. The text explained the weight. 60 pounds of equipment, water bottles, ammunition, supplies, tools. Everything a Marine would carry in real combat. Their faces were serious now. Focused. They knew what was coming. 54 hours of non-stop training. Almost no sleep. Very little food. Maximum physical stress. Maximum mental pressure. This was a final test. Pass or fail. There was no middle ground. The drill instructor stood before them. His voice was different tonight. Still strong, but not angry. Almost respectful. You have come far. You have survived 11 weeks of training that broke many before you. But this is where we separate the weak from the strong. The quitters from the fighters. The recruits from the Marines. He paused. Let his words sink in. For the next 54 hours, you will face every challenge we can create. You will be cold, hungry, exhausted. Your body will beg you to stop. Your mind will tell you to quit. But you will not stop. You will not quit. Because Marines do not surrender. Ever. The march began. They moved through dark forests. Rain started falling. Heavy, cold rain that soaked through their clothes immediately. The temperature dropped, near freezing. Their breath came out in white clouds. Their fingers went numb, but they kept marching. Mile after mile, hour after hour. Admiral Throck watched a female recruit struggling. She was small, maybe 5 feet 2 inches tall. Her pack looked enormous on her thin frame. She stumbled over roots and rocks, fell twice, got back up both times. Mud covered her uniform. Her face showed pure exhaustion, but she kept moving forward. Hour 6 arrived. The first challenge appeared, an obstacle course. But this one was different. Harder, higher walls, longer rope climbs, deeper water pits, and they had to complete it as teams. For recruits worked together. If one failed, they all failed. If one fell behind, they all went back to the start. The recruits attacked the course, helping each other over walls, pulling teammates up ropes, carrying the slower ones through water. Nobody was left behind, not one single person. They moved as one unit, one team, one family. Admiral Throck realized something important. The humans were not just training individual warriors. They were creating something far more powerful. They were forging unbreakable bonds between soldiers who would die for each other. Hour 24 passed, then hour 30, then hour 40. The recruits had barely slept, maybe 2 hours total. Quick naps on cold, wet ground. Their eyes were red and bloodshot. Their legs shook with every step. Blisters covered their feet. Blood soaked through their boots. But nobody complained. Nobody asked to stop. New challenges kept coming. They had to carry wounded teammates on stretchers. Simulated injuries. Dead weight. 2 recruits lifted a third onto a stretcher, then ran through rough terrain. Uphill, through thick brush. Their arms burned. Their backs screamed in pain. But they did not drop their wounded brother. They built shelters with limited supplies, just rope and tarps. In the rain, in the wind, working together in the darkness. They navigated through unknown forests using only maps and compasses. No GPS, no technology, just basic skills and teamwork. Some got lost, had to backtrack, start over. Wasted hours of precious time. Hour 48 arrived. Most recruits looked like zombies, walking dead. Their bodies moved on pure willpower alone. Nothing else was left. No energy, no strength, just a refusal to quit, just the determination to finish. Admiral Throck had never seen anything like this. His own warriors were strong, powerful, but would they push this far? Combat simulations began. Live ammunition fired over their heads. Explosions went off nearby. Smoke filled the air. They had to complete objectives while exhausted, while unable to think clearly, while every part of them wanted to collapse. But they moved. They fought. They won. Hour 53 came. The final challenge. The final march. 9 miles. Uphill. Carrying full gear. Their packs felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds now. Every step was agony. Pure agony. Some recruits could barely stand. Their legs buckled. They caught themselves. Forced their bodies to keep moving. One recruit fell hard. Face down. Did not get up for 10 seconds. 20 seconds. 30 seconds. Other recruits stopped. Lifted him to his feet. Put his arms over their shoulders. Carried him forward. He found his strength again. Started walking on his own. But his brothers stayed close. Ready to help again if needed. The sun started rising. Orange and red lights spread across the sky. Beautiful. Peaceful. The finish line appeared in the distance. A hill with flags waving. American flags. Marine Corps flags. The recruits saw it. Something changed in their eyes. Something ignited deep inside. They stood straighter. Walked faster. Found energy they did not know they had left.